What was your hold-it moment where you knew you would win? My little sister Audrey was getting bullied at school by this kid named Gavin. Every single day for 3 weeks, she'd come home with red eyes and an empty lunchbox because he'd cornered her by the cafeteria and demanded her lunch money. At first, my parents tried the proper route. They called the school, talked to the principal, even had a meeting with Gavin's mom. Nothing changed. If anything, it got worse because now Gavin was mad that Audrey had snitched. I'm only 16, but I wasn't going to let some 8th grader terrorize my little sister. Audrey's always been shy and sensitive, the kind of kid who apologizes when someone else bumps into her. Watching her flinch every time a car door slammed was breaking my heart, so I decided to take matters into my own hands. The next Tuesday, I skipped my last period and waited in the parking lot to follow Gavin after school. I expected to see him buying candy or video games with Audrey's money. Instead, I watched him walk 3 blocks to the sketchy part of town behind the old grocery store. That's where I saw the real problem. Gavin wasn't keeping the money. He was handing every single dollar to his older brother Lance, this huge 17-year-old with neck tattoos who went to the alternative school. Lance would count the cash and shove Gavin around anyway, calling him worthless and threatening to beat his face in if he didn't bring more tomorrow. Suddenly, everything made sense. Gavin wasn't a natural bully. He was just as trapped as Audrey was, but that didn't mean my sister had to keep suffering for it. I spent the entire night planning. Then I went to the bank with my birthday money and made a very specific request that confused the hell out of the teller. The next Monday morning, I gave Audrey a stack of bills that looked completely real from any normal distance. Same size, same colors, same texture. But if you looked closely at the fine print, they were obviously fake. Monopoly money printed on high-quality paper. Just give him these like normal, I told Audrey. Trust me, okay? Gavin took the money without even looking at it, just like always. Audrey came home that day with dry eyes for the first time in weeks, but I knew the real test was still coming. After school, I followed Gavin again, this time with my phone ready and my heart pounding. I hid behind a dumpster about 20 feet away when Gavin met Lance at their usual spot. Lance snatched the money from Gavin's shaking hands and started counting. His face went from bored to confused to absolutely furious in about 3 seconds. "Are you freaking kidding me right now?" Lance screamed, waving the fake bills in Gavin's face. "This is Monopoly money, you little idiot. You think I'm stupid?" Gavin looked genuinely shocked. "What? No, that's impossible. The girl gave me real money, I swear. Don't lie to me." Lance shoved Gavin so hard he fell backward into the brick wall. "You're trying to play me? You think this is funny?" That's when Gavin finally broke. Started crying and yelling about how he was tired of being Lance's personal ATM, how he hated stealing from other kids, how he just wanted Lance to leave him alone. Lance raised his fist, clearly about to punch his own little brother in the face. That's when I stepped out from behind the dumpster. "Hold it," I said loudly, holding my phone up high. "Smile for the camera, Lance." Lance spun around, his fist still raised. I had been recording everything. Lance threatening Gavin, the money exchange, the violence, all of it. "Delete that right now, you little punk," Lance snarled, taking a step toward me. "Sure thing," I said, not moving an inch. "Right after you promised to leave my sister Audrey and Gavin here alone. Forever." Lance's face went from angry to calculating. He knew he was screwed. Video evidence of him extorting kids and beating up his little brother wouldn't exactly help his probation situation. "You don't know who you're messing with," he said, but his voice had lost its edge. That's when Gavin surprised everyone, including himself. Instead of cowering like usual, he stepped between Lance and me. "Leave them alone, Lance," Gavin said, his voice shaky but determined. "I'm done being your errand boy." Lance looked between Gavin and my phone, clearly trying to figure out his next move. But before he could decide, 2 teachers came jogging around the corner. Apparently, someone had heard all the yelling. "What's going on here?" Ms. Morgan demanded, looking at Lance's raised fist and Gavin's tear-streaked face. I held up my phone. "Just documenting some evidence for the principal." Lance tried to run, but Coach Scott was blocking the other exit. The whole video played out on my phone screen. Lance threatening Gavin, demanding money, shoving him into the wall. Lance got suspended indefinitely. Gavin got counseling. But the best part? Gavin apologized to Audrey the next day and asked if they could be friends.